Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Karak Diaries. I'm Riti.
And I'm Nuha.
For today's episode, we decided to change a little bit because we want to talk about scary stories. Scary stories that we've personally experienced or just something that we've grew up listening to from our parents and our siblings or something.
Yeah.
But before we start with that, we want to start the episode by sharing something that we've been obsessed with. So, Nuha, what have you been obsessed with?
For me, I've been loving my new bag, which Riti herself crocheted for me. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it on my story. I gave her a little shout out. But if you haven't, you should follow me on Instagram. No, I'm joking. You don't have to. But it's this big bag that Ritzy made for me. And you know how in the first episode, she talked to you guys a little bit about her new hobby of crocheting. Well, fourth episode in, I got myself a bag, guys. She works fast. But these days, I've been really into big bags because I'm just a girl with a lot of things to carry. And this bag fits everything that I want to carry. So I'm really thankful that she made this for me, and I can't wait to bring her more often.
What do you have in the bag usually?
I have my water bottle. Yes, it's my water bottle. My phone, my power bank, my Kindle because I am trying to read more, as I said. And then I have like a pouch with my like lip balms, lipstick, all of the lip products in there, some tissues, and yeah, just this pouch that carries a little bit of everything. So yeah, and everything fits. And then over the weekend I went to like the pool and they had given us like some free water bottles. So I had asked for like 6 water bottles or something like that, and I can fit them in this bag. So yeah, it's a big bag, guys. It's good, and I'm loving it.
Thank you. What I've been obsessed with lately is actually matcha, but it's not regular matcha because I don't know if you've seen on TikTok, a lot of people have been doing this trend of making their own syrup, and they usually make it with Earl Grey tea. So you make the tea first, but you kind of intensify it. So usually you make 1 bag of tea with like a cup of water, but to make the syrup, you will usually use like 3 bags of tea to make this the cup of tea, and then you add like a cup of sugar into it, and then you melt the sugar over like a low heat and reduce it into a syrup. And I saw that, so I was like, oh, let me try that. But I don't have Earl Grey tea, so I use the next best thing. I have Thai tea, the one I talked about last time, and I put like so much of the tea leaves, and then I added the sugar, reduced it. And at first I was like, it's not turning into a syrup because it was so runny. And then stupid me, it was because it was hot. So then it was still liquid. And then once I put it into the container and then put it into like to cool down and put it into the fridge, the next day I checked, it became like a syrup. And then I use like usually like 3 tablespoons of the syrup, and then I add it to the milk, and then I add the matcha in, and it's so good because when you drink it, there's like sweet, but then there's like a small hint of like the tea as well. So it kind of complements well with the matcha, and it's so good. And I want to try with other tea leaves as well.
Yeah, okay, barista Riti coming through. I want to try it.
You should. Oh, actually, the matcha I got from you, and I finished it today. I'm so sad.
We need a restock then.
Yes. Let's go to 1004 Gourmet again.
I got you, girl. Okay, those are the things that we've been obsessed with recently. Now, I guess moving on to our episode. We actually
I'm
just
so
a backstory
scared.
for this because when Riti and I first started brainstorming on like episode ideas, I did bring this up. I was like, why don't we just talk about like spooky, scary stories? And then she goes, no, but I live alone. And I'm like, okay, we can scratch that out. And so fast forward like a month later, she texts me and she's like, oh my god, we should do scary stories. ChatGPT said it would be a good idea. And then I was like, girl, need I remind you? What do you have to say to this?
I'm sorry, I acted like a boyfriend who tends to hear something and then forget about it, and then moments later came back with the same idea, and act like it's their idea when it's actually your idea.
Oh man, I think there are some pent up feelings here. Maybe we can talk about it in another episode. Anyways, yeah. We are going to talk to you guys a little bit about some scary stories that we've heard over the years. Maybe some experiences that have happened to us. I don't know, have we ever talked about scary things with each other before?
Some. Yeah, I've mentioned a few.
Yeah, maybe we can like reshare.
Yeah.
And just pretend that it's your first time hearing it.
You shouldn't have said this out loud because now they know that you've heard it.
No. Maybe I find like new details. Nah. But for me, actually before we go into the stories themselves, I was wondering if you, well, no, I wasn't wondering. I already know.
Act like you wonder.
Okay. I was wondering if you're into like scary movies.
Wow. I thought you was for some reason I thought you were gonna ask me such a different question. No.
Yeah, she's not into it, guys.
I'm so scared. Like, no. Like, why do people find joy out of scary movies? But actually, was it 2 weeks ago? We watched a horror movie together with our friends.
Yeah.
What was the title again?
I forgot. I think it was called like His House.
Yeah, it was His House. We decided to watch this movie, and at first I was super scared like of even looking at it. I was closing one eye and squinting the other eye, so that the only thing I could see is just like blurry figurines on the TV.
I'm acting like I didn't do the same thing.
Okay, at least I didn't use people's hair to use as screens. Okay.
If you know.
But I ended up really enjoying the movie because it was not something that is like a typical scary movie with a lot of jump scares, or it wasn't simply just that. It had a deeper story to it, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but me personally, like the ending, I feel like the ending kind of threw me off a bit more. So my rating probably went down just because of the ending.
Yeah.
But you guys should watch it and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
We didn't even like plan on watching a scary movie that night. I think we just like got to our friend's place, and then we were like, oh, let's just watch something. And then I think because we were in a group, one of our friends was like, let's watch a scary movie.
Why do we always do that?
I think it's just because when you're in a group setting, I feel like it's less scary. I think so.
I see.
And I would much prefer watching a scary movie with our friends, because sometimes you can laugh with each other, you know, and I think that makes it more enjoyable and less scary. But I don't think I could ever watch it by myself. No. Back home, we have so many scary movies, like so many. And I remember growing up, I would watch some of them because they were always like airing on V or something, and it's messed up.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so scary. They do proper scary, like, you know, Asian movies go scary. Have you watched any?
I've watched so many as kids because for some reason the only movies that Cambodians do are ghost movies.
Yeah.
Or either that, or just our like family would only rent these.
Yeah.
Remember the days when you had to rent like movies to watch?
Yeah.
So we always like rent movies, and I'm never the one to do it. Usually it's my older siblings or my mom who does it, and they always ended up being scary movies. And there's this one famous story that even as children, you grow up hearing this story. It's like a story back in the old days of during the war. The men would go and fight, so it's just left to like with the woman in the house. And the man, he left the house for like a couple months, and the wife was actually pregnant. I don't remember how exactly she passed away, but she ended up passed away with the baby still inside, so both of them passed away. But then the man, he came back to the house, and he still found his wife there in the house and everything. She was still pregnant, and it was just the first time that he like had heard that she was pregnant and everything. Well, he wasn't gone for so long, so he just thought that now his wife hasn't like given birth, like, you know. And then weird things just started happening and stuff like that, and his neighbors started wondering like who he's talking to and stuff like that. I don't know how the story unraveled, but he just like started like glitching what he sees. Like he would think that he's eating like proper food and stuff like that, but it turns out he's eating worms or something in his plate, and it's because his wife, you know, the ghost, kind of make him see things that he's not supposed to see. And yeah, So that's like a famous story that we always grow up hearing and being very scared of,
Yeah.
because back home we are super scared of like ghosts that have babies inside.
Yeah. Wait, it kind of reminds me because I think there are similar themes in like Malaysian like horror films where they use the theme of like dying in like childbirth.
Oh yeah.
And that being like the main, I guess, like synopsis and like how everything kind of happens. I don't really remember much of like these films because I watched it when I was so small, but some very famous one is called Pontianak. Like that's like a series of like films, and I think it has something to do with like childbirth or something like that. Yeah,
Oh
and
my
it's quite
God.
scary.
Do you think it's because the woman feels a lot of anger or like protection towards the child or something?
Perhaps. It's really interesting how like different
Yeah.
cultures like would go through the same kind of like theme. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. I'd want to watch. Maybe it is actually kind of like similar.
Yeah, for us, we
Story.
always say that like if a woman passed away during pregnancy or while giving birth and the baby passed away as well, that's like the most aggressive spirits that you have to really like cleanse and make sure that their spirits cross to reincarnate, you know, for the next lives. But it's hard because there's a lot of anger and regrets and a lot of emotions, I guess, that they still want to be lingering in the living world.
Yeah. You know, I think what we should do is we should actually watch like a scary film from each of our friends' like countries.
No.
Oh, I think that would be a good night.
I'll choose a funny one because there's actually so many funny ones.
Yeah, same. like funny horror. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do that so often too. Like it becomes like it's cringe. Like you just.
But I don't want to watch scary movies from Japan, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
Have you seen
blacklist
it?
that one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is it the one that comes out of the TV or something?
Yeah. Oh my God.
What is that called again? Something, but yeah, that one.
I
That one
hate
freaks me out.
Japanese
Like I watched that when I was younger, and I still remember it.
Same.
So
I
that's
can.
how scarring it is. Yeah,
I
but
can
props
still
to
see
them. I think they do it really well.
No, it's
But
because
so
like
scary.
they move so weirdly.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
okay,
I'm
or
getting
ghosts just
goosebumps.
fly or like just walks or like, you know, something like that. But they're ghosts.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
like the crawling.
Oh yeah, the crawling
The crawling, the long hair. Wow.
I'm actually getting scared.
I'm getting goosebumps, Wallah. So why did we do this again?
I don't know.
Anyways, now that we've kind of, you know, talked a little bit about some of the movies that we've watched, have you ever experienced anything scary? Like in real life, you know?
So, I've experienced a few incidents that was just, it could possibly be explained by certain things for sure, you
Okay.
know, and stuff like that. But it was just, I guess because I grew up believing in spirits, and in our culture, we believe that there's spirits everywhere. There's spirits taking care of our homes. There's spirits even in public spaces, in trees, and stuff like that. So, growing up, we always have to respect and make sure that we don't say something like harmful to these spirits because we don't want to anger them.
Sure, yeah.
So growing up, I always hear like this famous story of my mom when she was living in the forest actually. So my mom actually was born during the Khmer Rouge, and when she was moved away from her parents, she had to live with like other people in the forests to be hidden.
Okay. And how old was that?
She was 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And she lived in the forest for like a couple years, so she was like around 5 or 6. And she still remembers the story because she said that she was like lying in a hammock, and then when she woke up, because she was napping, when she woke up, no one was there because everyone had gone to get water and stuff. And she heard like again like a baby crying, and then she was like, yeah, always the babies. Oh my God, I'm getting chills.
Yeah. Oh my God.
A baby crying, and then she tried to look for it, and then when she looked up, she saw like long hair and everything, and she cried so loud, and people started coming and like running towards her, and then she just like continued crying and pointing at the tree, and then she said that her like relatives, they immediately cut down the tree and burned the whole thing down that night. Yeah, and then they moved to a different place. Yeah, so
Was the spirit like disturbing her? Or
I
like,
don't know, to be honest.
okay.
Yeah,
And nobody else saw it.
nobody
right?
else saw it.
Okay,
Yeah, she just said that she was the only one there, and yeah, I guess it was because kind of like they're intruding the spirit because it's the spirit of the wild. And they went there and live, and like, you know, when you live there, it's like you probably do certain things that you wouldn't think that you were doing wrong, you know. For instance, when we go to remote areas like the forest or the temples, we always put a bit of like everything that we have that we brought as food, like a bit of rice, a bit of chicken or whatever, and then water, and then you put it to the side, like even before anyone eats, we have to put that to the side, and then we call the spirits and say, we come in peace, here's like our offerings, can please let us stay here for like whatever short period or long period of time. Please take care of us. We're not here to do anything to harm you and stuff like that. To just pay respect to them. And I guess I don't know what happened then. So yeah, that's a story that my mom always tells us every time. And every time I hear it, I get goosebumps,
chills,
you know?
Right? The chills.
Yeah. And then another infamous story was when we moved to our new home. My mom always say that the previous like owners always hear things and heard things, see things that was not comfortable for them.
Yeah.
But we were lucky enough to have never experienced it or see anything.
Okay.
When we moved in, yeah. But I think it was just last year when I went home. I was staying in like another room. Before I used to sleep with my mom, but then I was like, okay, I want to stay in my own room, and like, you know, I was staying in my own room. I was on my phone and everything, and you know, I can still hear my mom and my two sisters in the other room talking. And then I heard my mom shouting at my little sister saying, Panya, like, go to sleep. And then I was like, huh? What do you mean go to sleep? And then like she kept saying like, why are you on your phone and stuff like that. And my sister, I realized that both my sisters are in the room, because I only heard one of my sister's voice, right? Talking to my mom. But then the other sister, I didn't know what she was doing. But before that, like not before that, immediately, like during that, I heard something in the bathroom. I hear like someone like using the bathroom, showering. And then I was like, if everyone's there, then who's in the bathroom? I genuinely heard it. And then as soon as I realized that, the water stopped.
When these kind of things happen to you, like, how do you react? Because I know for us, when you realize that you are, you know, experiencing something, you kind of just have to like ignore it, like, you know, pretend that nothing's happening. How did you react to that?
That's what I did.
Yeah. yeah.
I was like, okay,
like, just acknowledge it, right?
it's time for me to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Turn off my lights.
Yeah.
And then I just slightly prayed. I was like, may my family go to sleep safely tonight,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We're not here to do anything. You can do you. I can do me. And I just closed my eyes and I went to sleep with my cats.
Yeah.
But then in the morning, I asked my mom. I was like, were the two of them like two of my sisters at any point in the bathroom? And she's like, no, we've been in bed since 9 and they didn't go to the bathroom at all. And I told her what I heard, and she was like, yeah, they probably, it was just time, because it was actually nearly time of Lunar New Year last year.
Okay.
Yeah, so around this time.
Yeah.
And she just explained to me that it's probably the spirits just getting ready, clean up for the next new year and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, they can shower, because I guess we shower, so they can shower too.
Not you justifying.
As long as we're not doing it at the same time, it's fine. Yeah.
Wow.
What about you? Like, have you heard of any stories, experienced anything?
Yeah. Oh, I think I've heard a lot. Not sure if anything's I maybe something has happened. No, something has happened to me, but I think I'll get back to that. That was when I was like very young, and it's still kind of like vivid. I don't remember if I've told you that actually, but I just wanted to go back to the point where you said about like being in the forest and stuff. I don't know, something about being in the forest, you know. There's so many like kind of like creepy, scary stories that kind of like linger, or like incidents that happen to people, or just like folklore, is that how you pronounce it, like legends that people kind of like share with each other. And back in my like village, we do live in like the forest, like my extended family and stuff. And every time we go back to the village, my parents would always kind of like share some like scary stories that's been shared around the village. I don't know if these are like real or if these are just like, you know, legends that people kind of like share, but there's like two that I kind of like remember vividly, and that's like one of them was like my dad kind of just shared it with me, I think recently, so I still like quite recent. But then the other one is like a story that I've known since I was like a girl, like a young girl. So I'll start with that one. It's about this man who would like go to this stall, like this food stall that's just in the middle of like a road, you know, surrounded by the forest and stuff. And he would go there to buy these, you know, red bean buns. It's like these steamed buns that have red bean filling inside, and he would always find them so delicious. So every time he would go and buy from the stall, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, every time he like talks about it, nobody knows what he's talking about.
Oh my god.
Like nobody's heard of this like
Wait, do
red
you
bean
know this
bun or,
man?
like these no,
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know
okay,
these
okay.
I don't know this man. And like it's just a story that my dad's always sharing, and like I don't know how like real, or like, you know, maybe it's just like a fiction, I don't know, but it gets me every time. And it's like, and so I think, I don't remember, I think it's just like one day something happens to him, he cuts one open and he sees that it's just filled with worms.
Oh my god, same like my story.
Yeah,
The one with worms also.
The one with worms, and like, you know, being in the forest and all that. So it's really interesting how like similar these themes are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. And then the other one that my dad, it's always my dad. It's always my dad at the scene. Thanks, Dad. But I think the recent story that he's shared with me, I know it's recent, but I don't know why I'm kind of like forgetting some of the details. But again, it's like a food stall, and I think they were selling like tom yum soup or something at this stall.
Okay.
And this guy would get a lot of customers, like a lot, it's so famous and stuff like that. And one day a guy goes to his stall and orders the tom yum soup, and then when he finishes, the owner is like, hey, you didn't pay. And then the guy was like, okay, here you go. And he gave his head.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then after that, the food stall was not selling anymore after
Is
that.
this a real food
I
stall that
believe,
you know of?
I don't know it, but I
Okay.
believe it's a real stall. So they're not
Okay.
selling there anymore.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh my god, my chills.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Why did we do this to
don't know.
ourselves?
I don't think I can sleep tonight, guys.
Can I sleep here?
Feel free, because I
I'm
might
not going
need
back.
company. Oh yeah, it gave me the chills. And then I just started asking my dad, like, oh, why do you think these things kind of like happen to people? And I don't know, like the concept of like, you know, jinns and like spirits obviously comes up, and we believe as well that there are like good jinns and like bad jinns, good spirits, bad spirits. And remember when I talked to you about like evil eye and all that stuff, and like how people can do like black magic or something like that to someone to harm their business or something like that. So that's potentially something that might have happened to this like food stall owner.
Oh my
I don't
god.
know. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
you know, these things come up and people wonder.
That's true.
So like, I think where I'm from, God, I don't even know if I should be exposing this. I'm so sorry. But like, it can happen a lot, like black magic and all this. And obviously this is something that you should not even be believing in.
But do you believe
or like
in it?
doing it. Like doing it. Like you
Ah,
shouldn't
doing
do
it, yeah.
It's basically kind of like doing a deal with the devil, if you will.
But do you think, do you believe that it
can
exists.
happen. Yes, for sure, 100%. It has. I think it happens to a lot of people, and you don't even know that it is happening to you or something like that. But a lot of people do this to like gain power, be successful, be wealthy, but they're doing it through like very wrong methods. But they believe that, I mean, it is the quickest quote unquote way to do it. So you do some things that can lead to that. Yeah. Oh, I got the chills.
Yeah, same.
Got the
We
chills.
believe in that too.
Mm.
Like some people can use these bad spirits
Oh,
to
sorry. And it's not even just for like gaining success or like being wealthy and powerful and all that. It's also for love.
Oh.
You can like make
Oh, actually,
people
we have that
like
too.
love potions or something like that. Yeah, like I think it has happened where people would do stuff to make another person marry them and like
Yeah.
all these things.
Actually have so many stories to share. Oh my god. Because we have that too. But it's not just to make them fall in love with you. It's also to break up other people.
Yes. Same. Yes, that can happen.
Do you have stories about that?
I don't know personally, and I've never heard, but I mean, sorry, obviously I've heard,
Yeah.
but like I don't know more like personally, but
I can share this
Yeah, go
because
ahead.
like that my dad, I don't have a dad in the household. I just grew up with my mom. But the story was that my mom was pregnant with me. And then my dad was, obviously I think it was just his character, to be honest. Let's say blame on the jinn, but this is how the story goes. My dad just started acting up and like, he left the house and stuff like that. And my mom, she started feeling sick and she was pregnant with me. And then she went to like, not necessarily a fortune teller, but we believe in these people in the in the village who are much older and who can access the spiritual world. And they said that someone is trying to break up my mom and my dad, and that if she goes to the back of the house and dig up in this specific spot, she will see something. She went, and there was a carving of my dad and my mom with their back to each other, tied with like a very specific like string. It's like the white string that you use for like ceremonies.
I don't think
and
you've
stuff like
ever
that.
told me this before.
I don't think I've ever told anyone this.
Oh my god.
And so my mom dug it up and she went back to the lady, and the lady said that she doesn't have the like strength to deal with this. This is too powerful. She doesn't even want to like touch it or whatever. And she sent my mom like to another person who's like in a different province. Actually, we've never heard of them before. She took it, and she only like took my youngest, like her youngest child, which is my older brother back then, with her. And my other three siblings had to stay home, like no one knows about it and stuff like that. She went there and find like this person out of like words of mouth and asking around and traveling like to a different province and stuff like that. She went there and the lady took her in and whatever, she performed like certain ceremonies, and my mom stayed there for a night. She said that night she dreamt that there was like another spirit that came and lingered outside the fence of the house that she was staying in, that was trying to come in, but the spirit couldn't enter the whole time. The spirit was just like walking back and forth in front of the gate. But back then, like in the villages, you don't have actual gates. It's like bamboos, like bamboo stick and stuff like that, and it's open. Like if you want to walk through, like walk through. But the spirit couldn't walk through. When she woke up, she told the lady, and the lady was like, don't worry. She put like like the string that I told you around the house. The bad spirits cannot enter. So that was a way to like prevent it. And then she dealt with it or whatever, and my mom was getting better. She was no longer sick, and but then my dad left and that was like the end of the story. But yeah, it was, I guess, in a sense successful. So
not the success rate.
But yeah, this is a very famous story my mom always tells us.
I did not
about.
know that it personally happened to like you. Wow.
It actually affected me because when I was born, I was really sick also. And I actually have like I have a birthmark.
Mhm.
Wait, where is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Because when I was born, I have like this like wound
Yeah, I
already
see
in
it, yeah.
on my leg, and I have it until now.
Oh, okay. And you think it was because of?
Yeah, that's what my mom told me. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh my god. Like all this time I've heard of, stories of like that happened to other people. It's never happened to like me personally, but wow.
Yeah. What about like what if someone's doing harm to you?
What do you mean?
Like have you experienced any of that or heard of anything? Yeah.
Me personally, no. I don't think so, but I've had like nightmares.
Oh.
Yeah, I've had nightmares. I think perhaps nightmares can happen because I don't know, maybe like your consciousness or something like that. You've been thinking about scary things, or you've seen something scary, or just your mental health. Your state is just not not the right place or something. But that's the most that's happened.
But do you have meanings behind dreams?
Oh, I feel like I tend to not really think too much about like what these dreams mean. But one summer I did have like quite a few nightmares, and then that really affected me to the point where it was quite difficult to like sleep because I was so scared. But after that, I just kind of talked to my mom that this is how I've been feeling, like I've been in nightmares and I can't really sleep. And then she's like, oh, okay, like I'll come pray in your room. So that's what she did.
Aww.
And even when I'm like away from the house, actually, she always like comes and prays in my room and like reads the Quran there to kind of like, yeah. So
That's so sweet.
so I guess that's what we do. But scary stories that I've heard of, like from my family, things have happened to my family. And I guess the most recent one is at my dad's office, like his workplace. Oh my god, you already know. It's not just one time, it's like a couple of times, a few times actually. I don't remember like the order in which these things happen, but there's something there.
Do you want to share?
In my dad's office, I guess a little context wouldn't hurt, but we heard that it used to be a hospital. So the building in which, the building used to be a hospital, and now it's become his workplace. And in my dad's room, one day he was talking to his colleague, and all of a sudden some files from the cabinet just flew and fell to the ground. Mind you, this cabinet is probably like 2 meters high, so these files and these papers dropped to the ground from 2 meters high out of nowhere. And my dad and his colleague obviously saw it all happen. And then that's why I asked you, like, what do you do when you like experience these things?
Yeah,
Like,
what did he do?
they just acted like it didn't happen.
Best strategy ever.
They just acted like it didn't happen. And to me, listening to this, I'm like, there's no way, like, what do you mean things just fly out of nowhere? But I feel like it's always so hard to say these things when it's never happened to you. You're like, ugh, that can't happen. But then I think that was the first story that my dad shared with me. And then so I was like, okay. And then there was another one.
Oh, I don't think I've heard the second one.
Really?
I think I only know
About the lights flickering or something, the lights being on and off. Yeah, so one time I think one of my dad's colleague went to the office just to check around, and she saw that the light had been turned on, and they thought that like my dad was still inside, so she kind of wanted to go in like to my dad's like side of the building to see if my dad's inside, but there was no one inside. And then he called my dad, and she's like, hey, there's a light turned on. And then my dad was like, no, like I was the last person to leave. There aren't. I like made sure there were no lights. And so they go back, and then I think the next day they see that the light turned off. The light was not turned on anymore. Oh my god. So it's all of these things, And then I think my brothers also experienced something there where they wanted to try and open like a door to a room, and they tried with all of their strength, Riti, and it wouldn't budge.
Oh my god.
And then I think the next time they tried to bring someone in, they opened it fine. And there's nothing like there. It's just like a old room, like an old photocopy or something like that, photocopier. And so why would these things just happen, Yeah.
I'm definitely sleeping here tonight.
Yeah. Another story happened to my younger brother too. I think I told you.
Which
it was
one?
like over the summer or something.
Can't remember.
Yeah. He heard his name being called.
No.
Yeah, he heard his name being called, and he was really like frightened up and shaken up over it.
How
Yeah.
many times?
I can't remember what he said, but he heard it really loud and clear that he thought that it was my dad calling him, and this happened at the office as well. Yeah, they were just about to pray, I think, and my dad was already like waiting for my brother or something, and my brother was going to do his ablution, like cleaning himself. And when he finished, he heard my dad calling his name, and he thought it was like my dad calling his name, but it wasn't my dad. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
in this like scenario, do you have something written, like a belief, if he were to answer back or if he were to follow that voice, would something have happened?
Oh, I don't know. I think we were just always told, like, if something ever happens to you, just kind of like, just acknowledge that it has happened to you and just kind of like move on, like don't react or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, he was shaken up by it, my younger brother.
Oh, poor
And
him.
yeah, we just told him to, read the Quran, like pray and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, bless him.
I don't think I want to ever visit your dad's
Yeah,
office.
it's just so spooky, like very
Have you ever
eerie.
visited? Have you ever visited it?
I visit every time I come back, and every time I come back, there's always a new story, Ritty. And then like it's very chilly when you go in there, and I don't know if it's because of all the stories I listened to. Like, what if I didn't hear these stories? Would I still feel it's chilly? But it's chilly.
I'm not
Yeah.
even there, and I'm feeling chilly in here.
I know. Every time my dad comes and tells me another story, I'm like, get out of there already. But yeah, these things
Yeah.
can happen no matter where you are, whether it's in the forest, in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For us, if we hear like some sound of calling our name, and if you follow it, then you are in grave danger.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the
I
thing,
mean-
like you don't know who called you.
Yeah.
You heard it. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
follow
yeah.
it, if you do anything.
Yeah.
Like you said, like best to ignore, but in that case, he thought it was your dad.
My dad, yeah.
And if he followed it, what could have happened?
Oh God. I think there are some stories back home where like, children go missing. And then, because like they go missing in the woods, and then you find them in the same place where you had already looked for him. So how can someone just be invisible for some time? Imagine, like, you've already searched this place and you didn't find any traces of a person. And then all of a sudden, they appear again in that same place that you already checked.
So this didn't happen to a person, but this happened to my kittens.
Oh God.
So the first time that I ever brought cats to the house, I just wanted cats. And then my mom didn't want them. But then I was, I guess, being stupid. I just brought home a mom cat and 4 kittens. But then I know my mom loves animals. We have like 9 dogs or something.
You weren't afraid.
Yes, I wasn't afraid. And obviously, like, she fell in love with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But back home, we have like a spiritual shrine for the spirits who look after our house. And for that shrine, they sit directly on the floor, but it's like against a very specific pillar in the house. But because it was on the floor, and we always have to put like water for them or like tea or something. And my kittens, they're being very naughty as kittens. I guess they're animals. They don't really think much. They just go and drink the water there. And you're not supposed to do that because the animals, they're dirty and stuff like that. So then it became like quite an issue. My mom was like, like, what are they doing and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm really sorry. So I have to pray to like the spirits and be like, be kind to these animals. Like, they are not doing anything harmful, like on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, they can't think. They don't have IQ, please. But then when I was just working, I immediately like, okay, there's like so much backstory, but I don't want to have like to go to the whole thing. But I immediately had this feeling like one of my kittens gone.
Okay.
Like something just dawned on me. I really don't know how to explain to other people who didn't feel that. But all of a sudden I was just like working from home, and then I was like, one of them is gone. Like, where are they? And I was racking the whole house. I kid you not. I turned every bed, like, how there's like a bed under, like, the bed frame also, but back home is like a wooden one. I was lifting everything, checking every closet, everything. A house is so small. I couldn't see a trace of anything. I was so shaken up. I burned the incense. Back then, if you burn the incense, you ask the spirits to forgive. And if the incense finished burning and you don't find it,
then you will never
that's
find it.
You will never find it. I burned the incense and it was so close. It was like 1/100th of a millimeter left. Like, it was just barely burning, and I was crying at that point. I just went back to my bed and I sat down. I was crying so much. And then I heard a sound, like a male sound, and I turned, and the kitten was just poking its head and looking at me in the corner in the bed that I've overturned. And then I genuinely thought it was a ghost, because actually one of my kittens had died like 2 weeks back, and this one that gone missing is the exact same color as that one. So it looked the same. And the one who died, that's where I found him. It was at that corner.
Oh.
It was the exact same place that I found the other
Oh my
one.
god, when it died?
That's why I thought it was a ghost. And then when I went to touch it and I could hold on to it, I was like, wow. It just means like the spirits is just very angry that like these kittens are annoying and bothering their place, you know, they're not supposed to be there.
What did you do after that?
I just apologized and asked for forgiveness again, and said that I'll try and train them properly. So then I put like another bucket of water right next to it, so the kittens would go to that bucket of water then, rather than go to that place to drink the water. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's happened to you before, like.
But you have to be there
Yeah.
to feel it.
For sure.
I was so scared. I was so scared.
For sure, I can imagine.
But I can't imagine that happening to an actual human being.
Yeah. Like, whenever you hear these stories, you're always like, nah, that's impossible. But I think it definitely can happen, especially out in the woods somewhere, you know?
Exactly.
You never know.
We also have another, like, scary story. I guess this one is really hard to explain. The other one's okay. People out there who don't really believe in like these scary stories or like scary spirits, I give you that. But this one, please help us explain. Because when I told you we moved to this house, right? And it was a village with a lot of people who lived there for years, you know, like they grew up there, everyone, you know, knows each other. We were the only new people, new faces. And then when we moved in, no one really likes us, or they think of us as outsiders and stuff like that. They were stealing our chickens and stuff like that, if you know the story. But I guess in a sense, we sensed that people were kind of jealous of us and stuff like that. And then the night before, what happened, my mom dreamt of cows. And he heard cowbells and stuff. In our culture, if you dream of cows and if they charge at you, it means that someone has sent a jinn or like a bad spirit to kind of do harm to you and stuff like that. And so my mom didn't think much of it. We all left, like we went to school, and then my mom went to the market to get food and stuff like that. We came back home. We opened the door to the house. There were 7 fangs. These are not fangs of like dog fangs or small fangs like that. These were like as long as like our finger fangs. There were 7 fangs perfectly aligned in a row, right as just we opened the door. And how did it get into our house?
Yeah, like I was gonna say maybe someone had placed them there, but it didn't.
It's inside the house.
It's inside the house. Oh my god.
And the house was locked.
Oh my god.
And I nearly went to touch it, but then my mom was, she screamed at me. She was like, don't touch it, because there's something bad, you know, attached to it. So we used like a dirty cloth to like scoop it up and burn it. And then this was not the first time or only time. It happened 2 times. Again, 7 fangs perfectly aligned in the house. And we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I feel like is very difficult to explain. How do you even start?
Yeah. I'm so scared.
Yeah. Don't know what we were thinking recording this in the nighttime too.
Oh yeah. But luckily your light's not flickering.
Let's not. Let's not expose me like that. Anyways, guys, I think these are all of the scary, spooky stories we have to share with you today. We have some more, but maybe we can save it for another episode because we realize it's about time to say goodbye. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was really scary for me. I don't know about you, but I definitely need some company tonight. Yeah, I definitely need that. Till next time, we hope you guys stay safe. If you have any scary stories, maybe share them in the comments, and let us know.
Bye.
See ya.